Good morning, friends. Good morning, audience. Today is a very important subject, and that is what's going on with Trump. Uh, don't be deceived. That's my first advice to you: is don't be taken by all the hype, all the media blitz of prosecution of so and so. What is going on now is really an operation to protect Trump from prosecution. Uh, I hope I'm wrong, but I doubt it. The current prosecutor basically is doing nothing except protecting Trump. How long it's been resulted in no prosecution or indictment or if anything that has happened, it's really enough to keep you guessing, enough to keep you thinking about the validity of the prosecution. The current prosecutor with the beard is no different than the original Trump prosecutor. Do you remember Mueller? Mueller, Mueller, 2 years during the time of Trump. And he came up with nothing, not because there's nothing, but because he was protecting him. That's a special counsel or prosecutor from the Justice Department means the accused is being protected. Why? Because now it's at the purview or at the discretion of the special counsel who is investigating the subject, that is Trump, to whether indict him or not. And guess what? They're procrastinating. They're playing basically that game, right? So that's what it is, folks. Don't be taken aback. Like I said, I hope I'm wrong, but I'm not. Any normal judicial system process would have put Trump in jail by now. But why is that? Why are they protecting him? This is called the cult. It's a cult, basically. Trump, I'm going to explain this to you, is very important to Zion, to Israel, to Netanyahu. His job was on January 6th to transition the United States from a democracy or law-based nation constitution run by constitution and rule of the law and so on into a communist state. So basically, he is the reincarnation or has the role of that of Lenin, the brothers Lenin and Stalin and Hitler and Ayatollah and Assad of Syria and so on and so forth. That's what was going to happen on January 6th, but by miracle, they just didn't make it. What is he going to do? Well, Ayatollah came and immediately eliminated something like 250,000. And Saddam as well. You may think Saddam and Ayatollah are antagonists. That's not the case, folks. They were basically at that, okay, back to Ayatollah. When he came to power, he eliminated no less than 250,000. These were who shouldered the revolution that brought him back into rule in Iran. Their leaders, their operators, their revolutionaries, blah, 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 they were all eliminated within 1 year. And then a new set of rulers who were hiding in the background, sitting in the wings, took over. And now Iran is basically a Leninist, Stalinist state. And then Saddam as well, when he came, he purged the ranks and he brought his own people, right, which are important to Zion, and so is Ayatollah, right? Now they started a 10 years war, and they basically, in that war, they achieved so many negative feelings and results and so on. They murdered no less than probably 4 or 5 million. Those are called undesired element. They produced hatred. They paved the way for dictatorship in Iraq and in Iran. Well, you know the story of communism. when Lenin and Stalin took over, basically they got rid of all those who shouldered the revolution, and they purged society. We all know the gulags, and I can go on and on describing what the horror they caused the Russian nation and all those stands, and wherever they went, basically they just started systematic murder and killing of the population. In Ukraine, for example, we know they committed something called the Holodomor, 7 million re-engineering of the population, meaning those democratic or free-loving people, Ukrainians, nationalists who love their country, who built their country, and so on. They were basically murdered, and that was that, right? Some 7 million people in the Holodomor in Ukraine perished in the Holodomor. That's under Stalin. Some people commend Lenin, they're the same, really. They're brothers and of religion, of creed, and they're both a Netanyahu type. Hitler as well. Hitler, when he came, the stormtroopers were the ones who brought him into power. And then he established the SS, and the SS came and killed them. And it was then that when the SS was executing the stormtroopers, those stormtroopers were hailing Hitler, not knowing that he sent them. And of course, we know what he is now, right? Nothing short of that was going to happen in the United States. The first thing was going to happen was suspension of the Constitution. So the first thing that he's going to do is suspend the Constitution, and he made a statement to that not too long ago that he wants the Constitution to be suspended, that Trump. So he is as important to Israel as that, because there's that new plan. He's going to suspend the Constitution and then rule by decree. And he made a statement to that not too long ago that the elections were rigged because the voting machines were rigged. Well, aren't these the same voting machines that put him in the White House in the first place? So he is right, but he's not right about himself. He was put in the White House because of the voting machines, right? Those very same voting machines. So that's what he's going to do first. The second, he's going to attack Ukraine. Israel wanted to have Putin invade Europe, all of it, because you European to live in liberty and freedom and whatever it is, regardless, is not acceptable anymore. Europe was going to be taken over by Putin, just like the Middle East is planned to be taken over by Iran, and then Asia taken over by China, and so on. But things didn't work as well. Things didn't flow smoothly, if you will. That's why things are in shambles now, and so on. But that doesn't mean Israel gives up its plan in turning the United States into a dictatorship. So what will happen after suspension of the Constitution? Bloodbaths will ensue, right? Will happen afterwards, because they want to purge the ranks now. So those people who are able to vote, who are able to stand up, who are able to uphold the Constitution, and will be taken out completely. And these are the very same people that are supporting Trump now. So that's what it is, folks. If there is such thing, or if there is a failure in the U.S. government, federal government, that will be horrific, folks. Black folks will die in mass, African Americans, because they're almost totally dependent on the government. So what I'm saying, the United States is not perfect, but it hasn't arrived here because it's spontaneously or on its own or anything else. No. A lot of people are guilty, and but what's gonna come? What I'm saying, what's gonna come is far worse than what it is now. Let's put it this way. So black folks will die in mass because now, if there's no federal government, or if there is a government that is similar to Lenin and Stalin gulags, the gulags will happen, and in fact, if you look, things of the sort began to happen during the Bush time, the second Bush, W. Some security some security resolutions took place, and now you're no longer free, and everybody listens on you, and national ID, and you name it, folks. If you don't, I mean, a lot of you realize, if you recall correctly, what after September 11, it turns out that the United States itself was the target. I'm talking about after. So now we know from the after, from the results after. Excuse me. We know from the results after what the plan was before the events, right? We know about the plan before the events from the results after. And sure enough, you know, freedoms were being limited, and gradually, slowly, but surely, the liberties are being taken out, and secret resolutions and court decisions, and there's no longer any privacy, folks. Let's put it this way. And there's nothing for free. So when you get like a free email, or when you get whatever it is, you know, it's all read and edited and at will and so on. And that's only the tip of the iceberg. What's going to happen afterwards? Imagine Soviet Union before it broke up. It became something appalling. Now you may say, well, eventually communism failed and collapsed, you know, in Afghanistan or here and there by reasons of Afghanistan's and other reasons and so on. Communism is still there, folks. They just had to go like cross a certain bridge because it wasn't working at all. The situation now is very bad. That prior to the aggression on Ukraine, some 32 million Russians wanted to immigrate to the West. That's how bad things are under Putin, who's the last of, you know, who is the reincarnation of Lenin and Stalin. Communism really never left from the rule of Russia, never will, right? Unless it is dislodged by force. Nazism never left, really. It still rules Germany. After it destroyed Germany, it consolidated the rule, and new elements just basically, yeah, they give you some money and you know, like you know, middle class and so on. But you have, of course, to put your pour out your intelligence, your industriousness, and because they need Germany and they need the United States to produce new weapons, to produce soldiers, to produce you know, things of the sort, right? Spying software and because if there's a tyranny like that of the Soviet Union, people's mind and ingenuity basically is switched off subconsciously, and there's no longer any production of new things. But eventually things will turn into the world of Huxley and that of 1984. Folks, you may think this is dramatic and drastic. No, no. If you value your future and that of your children, no matter who you are who are watching this video, you will spread the word, folks. Right now, Trump is being protected by the special counsel or prosecutor, like he was protected by Mueller, and the country is going downhill. As you can see, pandemic really destroyed people's livelihood, and you know, homelessness, you name it. You name it. So things are not looking pretty, folks. And spread the word. If that guy goes back in office, you know, and I doubt it, of course, but we'll see, because the decision at the end of the day belongs upstairs, and he may want to do something. I don't know. So spread the word and resist, like they say. And those who are in the White House and now in Washington, and if you really love the future of your country, look, like I said, this country is not perfect. It has a lot of problems. It has a lot of injustices and right. But what will come? I mean, it could still be fixed, right? But what will come is far worse. What will come is far worse than you think it is. We've seen it in Iran. Ever since the Ayatollah Khomeini, who's a Zionist figure, ever since Hafiz Assad came, who is the father of this guy, ever since communism came, ever since the Chinese regime came, Iran and the Middle East is basically death and misery and torment and poverty and so on. Africa as well, South America as well, Russia as well. All those countries like the stands and so on. That's how it became, right? And the United States, if you notice, the manufacturing engine and the middle class and all that was actually intentionally transferred to China. Some people tell you that Richard Nixon opened China. Yeah, opened it so he can transfer everything, begin the transfer process of everything in the United States to China. Look at it now. Go to the store. Every shelf, right? Every item on every shelf, look at it. It'll say made in China. Even in a grocery store, you want to go buy garlic, it's produced in China. It's mind-boggling, folks, how much destruction is happening here. Like I said, the plan of Zion and Netanyahu is really to change the United States into a Soviet Union during the Lenin and Stalin era, and to change Europe into as such as well. So first thing he's going to do, like I said, suspend the Constitution, then attack Ukraine, or at least make sure that he comes on side of Russia, provide the United States military to assist Russia in its invasion of Europe. And there are those in Western Europe who thinks they're immune from attacks. Oh, when in Germany, for example, if and when, right? Putin makes it to your borders, your leaders in there now who are Nazis, right? Yeah, they're Nazis, right? Nazis. Nazism never left. It basically reconditioned and pacified Germany into a new mentality, into a new population that basically is subservient, right? And oblivious, mindless, or not mindful of what's going on to their nation. Well, they can't, like World War II and World War I, basically, and the firestorm and the rape of Berlin and put their mind in a state of a lethargic state, and they just can't anymore. They cannot anymore think of the future of their country, nor they have anything to do with it. They're just sitting there, living there because they were born there, right? Russians as well. Russians are basically useless, they're hopeless. Like I said, some 30 million, 32 million were hoping to immigrate to the West at one point in their lives, and they just couldn't, they need a visa and stuff. And in the United States as well, look at the United States, those of you who know the United States, like say 40 years ago or 50 years ago, look at it now. Ever since Richard Nixon came, things began to fall apart, right? Or Johnson, for that matter. Johnson basically continued the Vietnam War. JFK wanted to get out of it, right? And that basically was very harmful to the United States. And you may think that George H. Bush paid off or rebalanced that in the Middle East. No, he did the Middle East because he wanted to bring Iran into power, and he wanted to, Israel, basically. He's an Israeli man, he wanted, what happened now is really, what happened now started a while back, started in 1979 upon the revolution in Iran, that Israeli Mossadic revolution in Iran. And even before that, military coups and so on and so forth. Things started to happen in the Middle East on this road of destruction, starting late 1800, the fall of the Ottoman Caliphate, right, which was destroyed by insiders, right, like Rabbi Mustafa Kemal Ataturk and so on. But that's not our subject. Our subject here is this, folks. You blacks, you Hispanics, you whites, those who support Trump, will be the first to be taken out. He may give you a little bit of grace period until things stabilize and so on. But no, this guy is not coming to clear the swamp. He's coming to clear whatever is left in Washington who are loyal to this country, if there's any, of course, right? And then that's it. So if you value the future of your children, your posterity and their freedom and their health, mental health and so on, this is the time, folks. Not tomorrow. It's today. You begin to resist those people today, because that day, January 6th, is coming again. And then once that happened, there's no going back. Once they take over, and if their rule is going ownership, not rule, and rule and ownership, after it manifests, after it materializes, right? And they feel threatened that it is going to be removed, that's when they will destroy the country, right? They will turn it into dust and rubble. You don't know those folks. You don't know them, folks. You do not know them. You do not know them. They operate by the books of Nietzsche and so on. Those of you who read Friedrich Nietzsche, Thus Spake Zarathustra. That is the book of hell, of devil, folks. No less. Have a nice day, my friends, and wake up. It's now or never.